American president insists on military defense. 1. U.S. military power and weapons technology. 1.1 Defense budget and structure. The U.S. defense budget is the largest in the world. For the 2026 fiscal year, the government's proposal requests around $892.6 billion for the Department of Defense, placing the U.S. far ahead of any other nation in military spending. This budget is distributed across multiple branches: the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Space Force, and Coast Guard, as well as civilian defense activities and supporting infrastructure. The U.S. military structure is both complex and highly professional. It comprises 6 main service branches: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Space Force. Additionally, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, regional commands, such as INDOPACOM, EUCOM, and CENTCOM, and global intelligence, cyber, and logistics capabilities enable the U.S. to conduct military operations anywhere in the world. 1.2 Superiority in weapons technology. The United States maintains its edge through advanced research and development in cutting-edge weapon systems, air systems, and next-generation fighter jets. The F-35 Lightning II and F-22 Raptor programs continue to underpin U.S. air superiority. Naval power. The U.S. Navy's aircraft carrier strike groups enable long-range maritime power projection. Nuclear-powered submarines, Aegis-equipped destroyers, cruisers, littoral combat ships, and fast attack vessels further strengthen naval reach. Missile and air defense capabilities. Systems such as Aegis, THAAD, and Patriot continue to evolve, alongside precision cruise and ballistic missiles. Drones and unmanned aircraft. UAV/UCAV. The U.S. pioneered the development of military drones, providing reconnaissance, precision strike, and intelligence capabilities that are now essential to modern warfare. Cyber and electronic warfare. Cyber dominance is increasingly crucial. The U.S. Cyber Command, in cooperation with civilian agencies, enhances national cybersecurity and digital defense. Space capabilities. The U.S. Space Force is tasked with protecting satellites, communication networks, GPS systems, and other space-based military assets. Global logistics and power projection. The extensive network of U.S. bases across continents, Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and unmatched logistical support capacity allow the rapid deployment of troops and equipment worldwide. All these factors make the United States the most comprehensive military power in the world, though not without challenges. Economic strength and innovation as a foundation. A strong military without a strong economy is fragile. The United States has long been preeminent due to its economic capacity, technological innovation, financial markets, and private sector strength. The following explains how economic and innovation aspects reinforce U.S. power, and how the President plays a key regulatory role. 2.1 The scale of the U.S. economy. The U.S. has the world's largest nominal GDP, serving as a global financial hub, a center of technological innovation, and a top destination for foreign investment. Although recent growth has been in the single digits, the U.S. economy remains a main engine of global trade and high technology. A large economy provides fiscal space. A sizable military budget is not excessively burdensome if managed prudently. In addition, foreign reserves, the strength of the U.S. dollar, and borrowing capacity, national debt, give the U.S. flexibility in foreign and defense policy. 2.2 Technological innovation and research. The U.S. dominates the technology sector, from major tech giants, Apple, Microsoft, Google/Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, to top research centers and universities. In the age of artificial intelligence, AI, quantum computing, biotechnology, 6G communication, and robotics, the U.S. remains at the forefront. Government involvement is crucial. Funding for basic research, collaboration with industry, tax incentives, and regulatory frameworks that support startups and technological ecosystems. Without supportive policy, America's technological edge could erode in the face of competitors such as China, the European Union, or South Korea. For example, recent research shows that continued government support for AI research remains essential for maintaining U.S. global leadership. Source: AR-14. 2.3 Economic resilience and global networks. The U.S. has built highly integrated trade networks, global supply chains, and financial systems. Although it faces criticism for import dependencies, especially on high-tech components and pharmaceuticals, the U.S. is working to repatriate parts of critical supply chains, particularly in semiconductors and energy. Economic strength also provides diplomatic leverage through development aid, foreign assistance, multilateral programs, and international financial institutions, IMF, World Bank. The U.S. frequently uses economic leverage, sanctions, incentives, and aid as tools of diplomacy. 2.4 Economic challenges. However, the challenges are significant. High public debt. The U.S. national debt is enormous, and interest payments are an increasing strain on the budget. Social inequality and domestic burdens. Inequality, healthcare costs, education expenses, and aging infrastructure reduce fiscal flexibility. Global technological competition. China aims to dominate AI, semiconductors, and 6G, intensifying global competition. Trade wars and protectionism. Tariffs and trade barriers risk escalating conflicts and retaliations. Supply chain disruptions. Global crises, such as pandemics or geopolitical conflicts, threaten supply chain stability, especially for critical components. National leaders, the President together with Congress, must balance defense investment with domestic priorities: healthcare, education, infrastructure, and the environment. 3. Global diplomacy and alliance strategy. Military and economic power alone are insufficient. In an interconnected world, diplomacy is the key instrument for maintaining influence without perpetual conflict. The following explains how the U.S. employs diplomacy and how the President plays a pivotal role. 3.1 Traditional and modern diplomatic strategies. U.S. diplomacy encompasses multiple dimensions: military alliances, NATO, AUKUS, Quad, and bilateral cooperation with allies in Asia, Japan, South Korea, the Middle East, and Europe. Multilateral institutions. The U.S. plays active roles in the UN, WTO, IMF, G20, G7, climate forums, and security forums. Economic and trade diplomacy. Trade agreements, regional economic partnerships, even though the U.S. did not join the original TPP, and aid or loan packages. Soft power and culture. Public diplomacy, student exchange programs, media and entertainment, Hollywood, technology, and the promotion of democracy and human rights. Technology and cyber diplomacy. International cooperation on cybersecurity, internet regulation, and global tech standards. Coercive diplomacy. Economic sanctions, embargoes, and diplomatic pressure to influence other nations' behavior. 3.2 Alliances and strategic partnerships. Alliances and partnerships form the core of U.S. strategic diplomacy. NATO, partnerships in Europe facing Russian threats. The U.S. leads key elements of collective defense. AUKUS, a security alliance among Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States to strengthen Indo-Pacific defense capabilities. Quad, cooperation among the U.S., India, Japan, and Australia to promote Indo-Pacific regional security. Bilateral partnerships, strategic relationships with Japan, South Korea, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Southeast Asian countries, and Eastern European and Baltic states. Maritime security and trade routes. The U.S. maintains a presence in the South China Sea, Strait of Malacca, Red Sea, and other key maritime routes to ensure freedom of navigation. These partnerships extend U.S. influence without always relying on full-scale military deployment. Instead, the U.S. can share intelligence, provide military training, security assistance, and diplomatic tools to its allies. 3.3 Diplomatic challenges and crisis tests. U.S. diplomacy faces several hurdles. Loss of trust and credibility. Shifting foreign policies between administrations can cause allies to doubt U.S. reliability. Rival blocs. China advances its diplomatic and economic influence through the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, while Russia maintains leverage in Eastern Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Non-aligned and developing nations. The U.S. must contend with nationalism, resistance to intervention, and the desire of developing nations to preserve sovereignty. Global power shifts. The world is increasingly multipolar. China, the EU, India, Russia, and regional powers are asserting greater influence. Transnational global issues, climate change, pandemics, cybersecurity, and migration require global diplomacy and multilateral cooperation.